over here. Welcome back to Tailor Tales. We're here going to chapter 12. Please be honest with this, man. I'm so tired of this. I feel a little anxious as I wait for Gray to show up. Hey, I got your message. I turned at the sound of Gray's voice, finding him entering my workroom, phone in hand. Everything okay? He asked. Oh yeah, everything's good, I answered, a little flustered by his presence. When I had messaged him asking if he could meet me when he was free, I didn't expect him to show up so soon. Do we have a game of Dragon Den going on downstairs? I ask, and he shrugs, tucking his phone into his back pocket. They won't miss me. Someone else took over the Den Master role, he says with a grin. So what do you need? I was wondering if you'd be willing to lend your body to me. I answer as I gather some of the supplies together that I usually use for our fittings. My body is all yours, Michiko. In the workroom, huh? He raises his eyebrows at me suggestively. Kinky. What else will we do it? Where else will we do it? That's not what I mean. What I meant, sir. I stress, watching his mouth cork to the side. I need help with some costumes I'm working on, I explain. They're not the usual kind of style I work with, so I need a model to check the sizing is correct. And here I was thinking you had finally succumbed to my charms and good looks, Gray sighs, feigning a look of disappointment. And your dreams, maybe, I tease him in return. Always, he grins, and I attempt to compose myself enough to give him a serious look. You're not making this easy. Okay, sorry, no more messing around, he promises. What do you need me to do? Stand over here, please, I say, directing him closer to my work table, where I'll have easy access to my supplies. You need to take off your shirt. Don't say a word. I add when he opens his mouth, no doubt to make another flirtatious joke. He clamps his lips together and does as asked, while I am busy myself getting the fabric ready. Oh damn, put the shirt back on. Put it back on. Too much skin. When I turn back around, I finding himself... When I turn back again, finding him standing bare-chested in front of me, it takes me more off guard than I had expected. Trying to act professional as I work, I have him slip the fabric I'm currently using over his head. It's not like I haven't seen him shirtless before, though that is true. The only time we've seen him shirtless is when he had hives. I can't even left shift, so we can't even see his full glory. I'm sorry, guys. No, the only other time I have, he was unfortunately suffering from a nasty case of hives. Hello? What are those? Gray asks as I move in with my tray of pins, sounding slightly panicked. You better not be bringing those needles anywhere near me. Oh, relax. I shush him softly. You said you'd help me, didn't you? Gray huffs a sigh, his shoulders sloping unhelpfully. This is definitely not what I had in mind when you said you wanted to use my body, he says drearily. Tell me again why you can't use one of your mannequins for this? I prompt him to straighten up and shake my head at him. The client's dimensions are bigger than the mannequins I have. You're about the same size, so it works out perfectly. Well, I hate needles. He pouts and I try my best to hide my smile. You literally have a metal bar going through your eyebrow, and they're pins, not needles. They won't stab you if you stand still, I say. Gray glances down at the deconstructed tunic I'm currently pinning in place around his top half, giving it a reproachful look. I finish the rest of the work in silence, and thankfully Gray is as still as a statue, probably to avoid being pricked by any of the pins, though I don't miss the way his forehead creases more and more as time goes by. What's up with you, Grumpy? I say with a small smile, and his face finally softens. I'm not grumpy, I'm just thinking about things, that's all. Oh, I finish putting the last pin in place and stepping back from him. Do you want to talk about it? Not really, he says with a shake of his head. I don't mean to pout at being brushed off so easily, but it happens anyway. When he notices, he lets out the breath of a laugh. I mean, no thank you. He swirls a strand of my hair around his finger before letting it go and gently flicking the tip of my nose. But thanks for the offer. That's more like it, I say with a giggle while I swat his hand away. I help him slip the tunic over his head, trying my hardest to keep my eyes on the garment and not the naked torso in front of me. Then I set the costume down on my work table, ready to be sewn together in the morning. Thank you again for helping me out. You can put your shirt back on, I say. I don't need to say it twice. Gray grabs his shirt and tosses it over his head. And sorry to keep you from your game. His blonde head of hair pops out from the collar of his shirt as he pulls it down, followed by a small smile. Jed's got it covered, no big deal. Though I'd better head down if I want to catch the end of it. I busy myself as he leaves, organizing the rest of my work for the morning before flipping off the workroom lights and heading up to my apartment. The air is stuffy when I enter and the evening is nice, so I open the doors to the balcony and let the evening breeze roll through the living room and freshen the place up. Flipping on the TV, I let it play in the background while I head to the kitchen and put something together for dinner. After eating and washing up, I sit back down in front of the TV and tuck my feet up on the sofa, intending to unwind a little before bed, until a strange sound captures my attention. Through the open balcony doors, I hear noises down the alley below, kind of shuffling and then jiggling at the back door handle. Serious. Pushing myself up from the sofa calmly, I creep out to the balcony and peer over the railing, straining to see through the dim light. A figure in the alley below catches my attention. Who's there? I call out, only to be met with total silence. I wait a minute longer for a response, searching for the figure through the dark and wondering if it was only my imagination. Deciding that I should double check, I leave my apartment, head down the stairs, checking my phone as I go and wondering if Gray has locked himself out. Approaching the back door slowly, I hear the handle jiggle a few more times before going silent. I leave the light off and keep my footsteps light. There's something strange about the situation, something that makes my hairs stand on end, and I get the distinct feeling that it's not Gray behind that door at all. Luckily, I know how to fight. Tiptoeing closer, I reach out. Oh, why are you not calling for help? I reach out a hand towards the handle, stopping an inch shy of the cold metal. And suddenly a thundering crash echoes out as something rams against the door, and I yelp and jump backwards, half expecting it to fly open right in front of me. The sound of footsteps sprinting up the stairs alerts me to Gray's presence, and I'm silently thankful that I didn't unknowingly let in whoever it is outside. What the hell was that? Gray asked breathlessly, putting himself between me and the door. There's someone out in the alley, I say, and for the first time I realize my hands are shaking. Go upstairs and lock the door behind you, he orders, as he strides towards the back door, but I shake my head firmly and follow him. I don't want to stay here on my own, I say shakily, keeping half a step behind him. I have no idea who or what is on the other side of the door, but the feeling in the pit of my stomach is telling me that it can't be anything good. And besides, I can't just let you go out there on your own, I add. Gray turns and attempts a half smile, even though his face is laced with doubt. It's cute of you to worry, but I'll be fine, he assures me, stepping backwards towards the door. And I'll only be a minute. I hesitate on the spot, unsure what to do next. For now, please just wait here, okay? Oh man, he said please. With a nod, I do as he says, slowly stepping back towards the stairs while he reaches for the door handle in front of him. He twists the handle and steps outside, turning his head left and then right. Then he pulls the door closed and disappears in the darkness of the alley. I wait where I am, my nerves going haywire as I strain my ears for any sign of movement and hear nothing for the longest time. I begin to worried that something might have happened to him. Whoever is outside could possibly just be some drunk who stumbled to the wrong alley. But what if it's not? What if it's something more sinister than all that? My thoughts drift to Ivan and how he's been hanging around more and more these past few days, looking at me in all the wrong ways. Eventually, when it seems that Gray has gone for far too long, I decide that I should go and make sure that he's alright. Just as I start heading towards the door, it opens again. I start at the sudden entrance. Relief floods through me at seeing Gray's familiar head of blonde hair, and after locking the door behind him, he comes over to me, his eyes holding a look of worry. Everything okay in here? He asks hurriedly, and I nod in reply. Okay. He brushes past me, heads into the boutique, striding right up the front door where he peers out the window, then double checks the lock. What are you doing? I ask as I follow him, perplexed by his strange behavior. Making sure everything's locked up. Then he walks back out of the boutique. I hurry up and follow him. Yeah, I don't want to be out here alone, what the fuck? I put a hand on his arm to slow him down. Gray, you're freaking me out, I say quietly, wondering what the hell has gone into him. He lets out a sigh and gives me an apologetic look. I'm sorry, he says, voice softening as he puts his hand over mine. Yet my gaze follows the gesture and my eyes widen. What happened to your hands? I gasp at the sight of his bloody knuckles, and he seems to notice them for the first time. He swears quietly beneath his breath as he drops his hands to his sides. It's nothing, he says quickly, and my brown eyes narrow on him. You don't have to lie to me. He looks at me and exhales sharply, his shoulders slumping in defeat. There was someone out there, he admits, but I managed to scare him off. You don't have to worry. Who was it? Just some random lowlife hanging around an alley. Was it Ivan? He rubs at the back of his neck, avoiding my eyes, probably looking for a store to break into to make some quick cash. He has a strange look on his face, and for a moment I get the impression that he's lying to me. Quickly dismissing that thought, I tell myself he wouldn't do that right now, but the concern on my face must still show. I'm worried he could come back, Grace says with a glance towards the back door. I'll take care of it if he does, I assure him. I can stay here tonight, he says, suddenly catching me off guard, to make sure you're not alone in that case. My mouth opens and closes without making a sound. I may be tough, but I still have to admit to myself that I'd feel much safer if Gray stayed. Are you sure? I finally managed to say. I mean, you don't have to. I'm sure, he says with a growing smile, tapping a finger gently beneath my chin to ease the frown. I can just hang out in the basement, it's no big deal. Well, now you're being ridiculous. I rest my hands on my hips as I stare at him. I have a perfectly nice guest room you can use. Wait, why didn't I offer that to Sarah? She slept on the couch in the living room. Something glints in his eyes, and I have an inkling about what he's going to say before he actually speaks. Are you finally inviting me up to your place? He asks, a smug grin tilting his lips. Only if you promise to behave yourself. I meet his grin with one of my own, holding my ground against him. He takes a step forward and stares down at me, his hair falling into his face. I never do, especially not around you. My face grows warm beneath his constant stare. He's playing with me, and I know it. He always is. Unfortunately, this time I had to be the one to break first. Still feeling uncomfortable being down here in the dark after someone had caught lurking around in the alley outside. I step backwards towards the stairs before turning, waving a hand for him to follow. Come on, let's go. I think we need some cameras. I think we need some security cameras. Don't you guys agree? We head up to the apartment together, and a sudden rush of nervousness twists my stomach, despite my best attempts to seem calm and collected. The only person who enters my home apart from me is usually Sarah. It feels strange to have someone completely new under my roof. Nice place, Gray says as he glances around the living room. Thanks, I trail off when he heads over to the balcony and closes the door, locking them firmly. He takes in the view before closing the curtains and turning back to me. Do you really think someone could get in there? I ask in disbelief. You can never be too careful. Right, in case someone decides to scale the wall and climb in the window, I say lightly, mostly in an attempt to make myself feel better. Yeah, don't remind me of that fiasco. A small smile peeks out when he shakes his head at me, and with a shrug I decide he's right. Better safe than sorry. Come into the kitchen, I'll take a look at your hands, I instruct, leading him down the hallway and over to the sink. Excuse me. We haven't been in the kitchen in a while. Damn it, I forgot I can't shift. Because usually in the kitchen scenes, it was mostly with Dimitri, right? Because he can cook, if I remember correctly. It's been forever, but I just know. Dimitri's my favorite. Out of everyone, Dimitri's my favorite. Taking a small cloth, I wet it under the tap while he leans back against the counter. Then I take one of his hands in mine, gently pressing the cloth to his knuckles. He barely even flinches at the pressure, and it makes me wonder how often he's still getting into scraps these days. When the wounds are clear, I notice a few scars here and there, scattered over the back of his hands. Do you get into a lot of fights? I ask, trailing one of the lines with the tip of my finger. I used to, back in school, he admits, watching the movement. Not so much anymore, only when I have to. I say nothing in response, not wanting to risk him suspecting my familiarity with his past. I turn away to grab a small first aid kit out of a cupboard, feeling some relief that he's learned to pull the number of his punches. It's nice to hear how he's grown. You don't approve? Gray asks, ducking his head to meet my eyes when I step in front of him again. I didn't say that. I say with a small shake of my head as I fish around in the box for supplies. You didn't have to. It was written all over my face. I keep quiet as I finish dressing his wounds before stashing the first aid kit away again. It's not like I don't approve of fighting. I used to fight plenty back in my school days, and I'm thankful that I know how to, so I'm hardly one to judge. It's the memories that come with the fighting that makes me pause. All better? I ask with a nod to his hands, offering a smile to clear some of the tension. Much better, he answers with a grin of his own, and we head back out into the living room. Super Yacht Singles. Gray muses out loud when he notices the show still playing on the TV. Good show. You watch reality TV? I ask with a raised brow. Sure, who doesn't? He sits down on the sofa and grabs the remote, turning the volume up with an amused smile. I take a seat next to him. I feel strangely comfortable doing something as simple as watching TV with him, and I like the way that feels. Until a familiar pang of guilt hits me. Maybe I didn't owe him the truth when we were strangers, but this blossoming friendship of ours has come further than I ever thought possible. I just wanted to right my past wrong, but now I may be creating an entirely new moral conundrum. If I came clean, would he want nothing to do with me? Settling into the sofa, I pull up my feet and I'm reading words that aren't there yet. Try to not to think about it. Okay. At this moment, selfish though it may be, I'll prioritize my physical safety. I can't deny the fact that Gray's presence is keeping me calm. We spend the next few minutes watching the show, laughing and joking about the contestants and the crazy situations they find themselves in. When an ad break comes on, I smile softly to myself and turn to Gray. He seems relaxed, more so than I've ever seen him. And I decide that now might be the perfect time to pursue a different pressing conversation topic. Earlier today, you said you had something on your mind. I start watching the way his jaw tightens ever so slowly. Yeah, I remember, he says slowly, the smile fading. I hesitate before asking. I want to draw any unwanted attention to the question, but finding the need to know more about what's going on around here pressing on me. Did it have anything to do with Ivan, I ask. Grace snaps his head towards me, mistrust running deep through his stormy eyes. Why would you bring him up? Because of what happened the other night, I say quickly, slightly taken aback by his reaction, after Dragon Den. Oh, right. He sinks back into the sofa, resting his head against the back of it and pinching the bridge of his nose between his fingers. Partly, I guess. Ivan is known around town for being a pain in the ass. How long have you known him? I asked, treading lightly. If I can find out more about what Nikki was talking about, then maybe I wouldn't feel so suspicious of the two of them hanging out all the time. Since high school, he was the leader of the Riverside High Gang, one of our rivals, Greg says. He tilts his head towards me. In fact, there are 3 rival gangs in the city and 3 leaders. I swallow thickly and shift in my seat, determined to keep my eyes on him and not give away the fact that I know we're treading dangerous ground. What happened to the other one? He asks, feigning innocence. Who knows? I guess she disappeared, he says, and then continues with his own question. How long have you known the Hammer? How did you know it was a girl? For the other one. My breath hitches in my throat at the title, but my confusion statement is very real. Who? I ask. Ivan, Gray clarifies. How long have you known him? As long as I've known you, I say, and this time it's the truth. But for him, for Gray, it feels like just recent. So you're technically not telling the truth to him, in his eyes. We return to watching the show quietly, strangeness settling in the air between us. I can't quite tell why Gray had asked me that question, even though it's far from the truth as far as he should be aware. I only met Ivan after the opening of the boutique. When the show finishes, Gray stretches his arms above his head and looks around the room, his eyes falling on the bookshelf in the corner. Hey, why don't we play a game? He says as he stands, heading over to the checkout, the small selection of board games on the bookshelf, or bottom shelf. Here we go. He comes over and lays a box on the coffee table. Jumble. Really? I whine. Jumble is an old game of mine where you use blocks of letters to spell out different words. Imagine he spells our gang name. Was it Aroma? Did I use Aroma? Or Aromie? I can't remember. The scores on the board as well as different letters all give points. Oh, it's Sudoku? No, that's not. I don't fucking know. And the aim is to be the one with the most points before the letters all run out. Come on, it'll be fun. Alright, but I have to warn you that I'm pretty good at this game. I tease as I make a move to join him. He snorts in amusement and makes a face at me. We'll see about that. Taking a seat at either end of the coffee table, we set up the board together and each pick a piece at random to determine who starts. Gray picks a seat and gets to go first. After setting our pieces up on our stands, he starts with the word danger in the middle of the board. Yeah, it's that one game. Is it Sudoku? Sudoku? I feel like that's not it. It's whatever. You guys know what it is. I've never played this game, so I would never understand it. It starts with the word danger in the middle of the board. I scan my eyes and follow with beams over the E. Oh, okay. Jotting down my score. Next comes lust, and I give him a look, earning an innocent shrug of his shoulders. The tilt of his lips proves that there's nothing innocent about it at all. You should be happy I didn't use the same letters to spell out another word, he says. Slut? I rearrange the letters in my head before realizing what he's talking about. Smothering my smile, I peer up my letters, deciding to jump on board with this new game of his. I bite down my lip as I place my next word. Look, attempting to keep a straight face. Gray's turn is next, and he taps his fingers against the top of the table while he concentrates. It doesn't take much longer before he's putting down the words. Oh, shit. The word hard above danger in the middle. Hard danger. Scrutinizing my pieces, I think I've lost this questionable game already until I see my next move. Kink. Placing my word, I look up at Gray with a smile on my lips, feeling proud of myself. He runs a thumb over his bottom lip in thought, staring at his letters silently before his eyes move back to the board. Then he reaches out and arranges 4 of the existing pieces, creating a new word in the bottom corner. Okay. BDSM. I stare at the pieces with a mixture of emotions battling within me. Confusion, doubt, anticipation. But laced through it all is a dark feeling of intrigue. Gray stays quiet, and I get the impression that he's waiting for me to speak first. When I glance at him, I find his heavy-lidded stare underlined with a subtle awareness. As though scared he might scare me off completely. I'm not sure that's in the rules, I say finally, my chest tightening with the tension hanging between us. His shoulders relax at the sight of my subtle smile, and he clicks his tongue at me. What can I say? I'm a fan of rule breaking. I shake my head at him before I stare at the acronym once more, and another thought pops in my head. The store I saw you and Jed in, I start, and then trail off. I'm sure if we should even be having this conversation. The sex store? Gray asks, his eyebrows dipped in the middle. I nod, deciding I've gone too far to turn back now. You seem to know about the kinds of things in there. I think back on the aisles of toys and other accessories, whips, handcuffs, vibrators. Some people get pleasure from those things, he says, and I note the smallest amount of teasing in his voice. People like you, I ask. Yes. He's so matter-of-fact, like, yeah, man. Yes, he says with an entirely straight face, gauging my reaction. People like me. I let out a shaky breath, the air on my skin bringing goosebumps to the surface. I don't think I could keep a straight face if this was a real conversation. I think I would be like, whoa. Okay. Does that make you uncomfortable, he asked. Yes. But my girl's gonna say no. No, I don't know about it. BDSM, I mean. With that, he drags my pieces over and flips them onto the board. I can explain a couple of things if you like. It's probably simpler than you think. He says, waiting for me to give him the go-ahead. I nod, and with our game abandoned and all the letters now facing up, he finds what he's looking for and spells out a word on the board in front of me, covering it with his hand. The first thing you have to know is that BDSM can involve plenty of different sexual practices. Alright guys, get ready for a one-on-one class that neither of us asked for. The first thing you have to know is that BDSM can involve plenty of different sexual practices, depending on what you're into. These are just a few of them, he says before he moves his hand showing me the first word. Bondage, I say out loud, even though the term is familiar. Ropes and handcuffs, usually, he explains, so some people have all kinds of contraptions they use for fun. It says that last part with a suggestive waggle of his eyebrows, and I bite down on my lip to stop my smile. Clearing with the pieces, he picks out a few more, spelling out another word. Dominant, he explains the next term. It's what you would call someone who enjoys taking control. I swallow hard, meaning his unwavering gaze. And then on the other hand, you have the submissive. They enjoy giving power up to their dominant player, even if it's just for a little while. It sounds intense. I admit, still deciding how to feel about it all. Is this really the kind of thing that Gray's into? He's already told us he's very dominant. It can be, but it can also be a lot of fun, he says in return. Oh. What the fuck do I say? I kinda wanna go kind. I kinda wanna go to kind, cause I ain't into that stuff. But I don't want him to think he scared me off. But I shouldn't lie like my girlie. I shouldn't lie like my girlie. Oh, she's lying anyway. Whatever. I suppose I might like it if I tried it, I say, watching his lips tilt at the sides. So how do you tell if you're dominant or submissive? It all depends on what you like in bed, Gray says, watching me the entire time he speaks. Do you like giving orders? No, not really. This isn't... Well, my girl might. And I quickly realize that he's actually asking me questions. Or asking me the question. When I show no signs of answer, he continues. Any of those could be a sign that you're a dom. Some might like to be tied up or... or sphincter just to be bossed around. I don't know. They enjoy letting someone else be in control. I think I figured out which one you are, I say without thinking, my body growing warm when Gray chuckles darkly. And which is that? Dominant, I say. He nods and I look him over, wondering if he might be someone I could give control over to. When I realize that it's not exactly a thought I should be having about him, I shake my head to clear it. It seems risky, giving so much power to someone else, I say quickly, trying to bring myself back to his level. Gray gives me a meaningful look, and for some strange reason, I start to feel more comfortable talking to him about all of this. It's a gradual process, something you start off slow, but no matter what happens, safety is always a priority. Partners establish boundaries and safe words to make sure none of them feel uncomfortable. Consent is pretty important. Okay, thank you, Gray. Safe words, I ask. They could be anything, Gray explains. Typically, something you wouldn't normally use during sex, like umbrella, for example, to avoid any confusion. If someone says a safe word, then it all stops. I think about that quietly, deciding it sounds reasonable enough, if I were to take an interest in it, that is. Okay! Before I can ask anything else, a crashing sound rings out in the distance, loud enough to make me jump and tear my eyes away from him. In an instant, Gray's on his feet, storming towards the window and throwing it open. What is it? I asked as I come up next to him, searching the darkness below. He lets out a little soft chuckle, pointing his finger in the direction of a couple of old boxes. Just a couple of cats, see? Oh, thank God, you damn cats. Following his lead, I spot the felines playing around down there, hiding the boxes and jumping out at each other. I smile at the sight, though my heart is still pounding like crazy after everything that's happened tonight. I turn back to the room and look for something to do to calm me down. The jumbled pieces are still scattered over the coffee table, and Gray helps me pack them away before I store the box back on the shelf. He yawns loudly from behind me and drops down back onto the sofa. The mood from earlier completely dissipated, though I know it's for the best. The spare bed is all set up if you want to get some sleep, I suggest, watching him stretch his long legs in front of him. I'm getting drowsy, but thinking about someone potentially lurking around outside the building is making it difficult to think of sleep. Why don't you lie down here? He pats his lap. Excuse you? He chuckles softly when I give him an odd look. I'll only feel more comfortable sleeping out here. I don't mind, Grace says with a sleepy smile. Sure, but only because I want to rest my eyes, I say. Oh, how cute! We're so cute. What am I wearing? It looks like a pharaoh outfit or something. Curl? I would not. Wait, it's a blanket. Am I dumb? I think I'm just dumb. Oh my god. I thought it was like a pharaoh outfit, and I was like, wait, it might be a blanket. Oh my god, I'm fucking dumb. So fucking dumb. I'm so dumb, I can't get over it. When I lay down and get comfortable with my head in his lap, he raises his fingers to comb my hair away from my face. I make a small contented sound at the feeling of his fingers against my scalp and let my heavy eyes flutter closed as he continues to drag them through my hair. Thank you again, Gray, I say quietly, for staying over and for making sure everything is safe around here. You didn't have to. When my eyes are closed, I feel the warmth of his breath and the rumble of his voice when he speaks. I care about what happens around here, you know, and what happens to you. Probably more than you think, he says softly. And I'm well aware of the smile that gently tilts my lips at his words. It amazes me how every single day he manages to make me let down my guard more and more. Which means you should not be lying to him, please. And as much as I enjoy the feeling of growing closer to him, I'm more afraid of knowing that it won't last. I have to come clean to him about our shared past. And when I do, it'll change how he sees me forever. He might even refuse to see me again. For tonight, at least, I push it from my mind. I let him run his fingers through my hair until I grow sleepy and eventually doze off completely. I'll deal with the rest tomorrow. Motherfucker. She's just so much pain. There's so much pain of her just not telling him. Ugh. Let me save. I don't think I've saved for a while, actually. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.